Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hi, Rangers. It's me, Jackie Kashian. Welcome to the Dork Forest. It's 2024. Let's do this. Here's the credits, of course. Mike Ruekberg sang that song at the beginning, and he wrote that song, and he sang it with Sarah Cohen, his wife, and he will sing the Mexican hat dance at the end of the program. Also, Patrick Brady, still putting this together. Video, audio, all of it. He's amazing. So, and Vilmos doing JackieKashianStore.com. Squarespace is doing the regular Jackie Kashian page, and I'm thinking of moving the Dork Forest and dorkforest.com away from WordPress because it's driving me nuts. But those are the credits. But if you go to JackieKashian.com, you can get Dork Forest merch. You can get my stand-up merch. You can get my stand-up CDs and DVDs, which you'd have to have devices for those. You can also see videos and find out any number of things. I have another podcast called The Jackie and Laurie Show, but the Dork Forest is the flagship. 18th year, we're doing it, you guys. You can go to my Bandcamp or my YouTube for extra content. Please donate, is what I'm saying. It's 2024, and I think we've been in this long enough. Why don't you guys, everybody send me $100? That's what I'd like you to do. You can PayPal me. There's links all over the pages. You can Venmo me at Jackie Kashian. You can find me at a stand-up show and hand me a sweaty wad of 20s. Do something. But I love doing the show. I would love to make some money, is what I'd like to do. In other news, I'm sure there's more things that I should talk about, but I can't think of them. But let's listen to who's going to dork out about something, because that's my favorite part. Thanks for listening, you guys. You're all great. Let's get into the show. You guys, wow, what a jury-rigged, who knows how it's rigged? But I'm lying on my bed in a part of my house that at least has some sound resistance because my mic's not working. But we're gonna do an episode of the Dork Forest anyway, right? It's so exciting to have with me Bobby Dolan. Welcome to the program. How you doing?
Thanks for having me, Jack. I'm doing great. Just recording in my boss's office right now, so that's where I am.
Oh, that's perfect. There seems to be some sort of whiteboard that has instructions for people or just reminders.
Yeah, we got some of the accounts at Almost Friday Media in the back, and I feel like it makes me look nice and professional. So this is cool. Nice little backdrop.
This is it. It's a level of professionalism that feels kind of middle management-y. But I will say this, Bobby Dolan, you have a podcast called Could Be the Move, which is hilarious. I love the premise. Is this the move? Could be the move. This could be the move, you guys.
Definitely.
I have to say that you got a 4th of July week episode out?
Yeah, so we just did a 4th of July episode, and so it was a podcast that I've been doing for a long time, even before like the Instagram account. And then I went on a bit of a hiatus of doing podcasts, but now we're back and recording and breaking down all these cool, funny, goofy moves I get sent in. So it's been great.
Yeah. Very, very silly, very fun. You know what? I forgot to write down. I mean, we're gonna dork out, Rangers. Don't you worry. But I forget what you wanted to tell everybody about. Besides, could be the move.
Yeah. So first off, I love the premise of the podcast. It was great. I was like looking through all of them, and
sure.
I feel like you probably learned so much about so many niche topics. That's got to be kind of cool to have that under your belt.
I have a small amount of information about everything, including cricket. I have a very vague idea how cricket is played because I knew a lot about it for about 15 minutes after that episode, and now I have retained several snippets of information.
I'm jealous. I do not know anything about cricket, but it's such a popular sport, and I'm a big sports guy. I feel like I should know a little bit. So,
it's a great episode.
Jealous.
It's with Will Anderson, who's an Australian comic.
Okay.
And so it is a really good episode. So, but we're gonna actually talk sports something, and I don't know anything about sports.
Yeah. So I was gonna
jerseys. No.
Yeah. So this Yeah, so this is a interesting topic for me. So it's like I'm a big sports guy. I was thinking about like, things that we can maybe talk about and things I'm like very nerdy about. And I'm like kind of nerdy about stats. I'm very nerdy about golf. But then I was like trying to think of something like more niche because I feel like,
Okay.
a lot of people out there are kind of nerdy about golf, especially recently since the game's just exploded as of late, but at least the popularity anyways. But when it comes
I've
to
only done
sports,
one episode about golf, and it was probably 10 years ago with Rory Scovel.
okay, I know Roy Scovel. Yeah, okay.
Right. It was the only episode I've ever done about golf. So maybe you'll
Oh,
come back
wow.
to talk about golf.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely talk about golf. That's definitely one thing. But I also was thinking too, just like, with the name of the podcast, Dork Forest. I feel like with me and like jersey numbers, I'm like a big time nerd about that.
Right. So when people get on a team, they are
Hmm.
given a number.
Yeah,
And what is at the professional level, I'm sure people are rattling bones and praying to the moon about their numbers. But how are they picked?
yeah. So I mean, professionally, like you choose your number. I mean, I guess depending
Okay.
on the status of the player you are. But I mean, like obviously, it starts at a young age, right? Young age, you're a kid, you're doing little league and stuff. A lot of times the jersey numbers are based on size, so it's like one is usually like the small, so like the small kid's one or whatever, and then
Right.
like the big numbers like 15 or like whatever it is in baseball would be like the extra large. So it's like the bigger kids will wear the
Okay.
bigger numbers, and then as you progress, maybe you get a little better and you get a little more priority on what jersey number you want. And the kids always argue like, oh, I want this number, I want this number, and then it just like it's pretty crazy how that just continues like all the way up until you're professional, right? Because it's like these guys, if they want a
Everybody has
certain
a
number,
weird lucky number, right?
yeah, exactly.
There's
So it's like,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's, I mean, like, I'm not sure what your lucky number is, but like
Do
maybe
you
you'd want that.
right. Do you have a luck? I mean, I have a couple of lucky numbers. I like the number 7 and I like the number 12.
Okay, yeah, two great numbers as far as on a
Yeah.
jersey. Because seven,
Wait,
that's
I
like a
think
very
on a
popular one.
jersey they're terrible numbers because I think that's Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers.
So Brett Favre is 4. So
Oh, he
seven
was 4.
is, yeah, he was 4. 12, that's Tom Brady right there. 7,
Okay.
you got like a Boomer Esiason or Mickey Mantle. He kind of put 7 on the map, especially in New York. But yeah, I mean, so it's like you get to
Did Mickey
choose.
Mantle put 7 on the map, Bobby?
Yeah,
Oh, that's amazing.
I'd say probably what the spin the wheel number 7. They probably did, but then I guess Mickey Mantle carried the torch, if
Sure.
you will. At least
I
that's what
love
I'm telling
that.
myself, anyways. But yeah, and so my lucky number was 4.
Okay.
Well, it's actually kind of changed like growing up, but like I remember I kind of landed on 4 because it was like a number that I thought was cool that no one else wore. So like I
Mhm.
always wanted to wear 4. Like in high school, I wore 4 and stuff. But then sometimes like that number's taken, and you have to
You got
choose
a
another
backup
number.
number? You got a backup number?
Yeah, like I've been messing with 19 recently, like especially like in these rec leagues. I think that's a fun number. And
Oh,
yeah.
that's so are you on several teams that give you a jersey that then all of a sudden you're walking around in a jersey because you're on a team?
Yeah, so I still do like intramural sports out here. So I'm on a roller hockey
Okay.
team, and I've been
Roller hockey.
44 for a while. That's like my yeah. We don't get new jerseys. We have jerseys that we bought a long time ago. So I'm 44 for
Sure.
um, until it gets retired on the rafters, anyways. And then as far as like, I just joined a softball league. So it's like, okay,
Okay.
like choose your number. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go with 19. And then I think the last, I was on a basketball team. We got numbers. And I think I just like, I think I did something random like 63 or something. I don't even know. I did some like random
Right.
number. So yeah, I mean, but like, certain athletes, I feel like there's just numbers that just stick in your head like, oh, this, like you just I'll hear a number and I just immediately think of like that athlete or whatever. And it's kind of
Right.
interesting
Well,
how like there's an aura behind it and stuff.
I want to talk about those numbers, but I have one
Hmm.
quick question. Are
Yeah.
there any 3 digits? Has anyone gone into 3 digits?
No, not professional sports yet anyways.
Fair
The
enough.
Yankees might need that because they retire all these jerseys, but yeah.
Right. That's the other thing, right? I mean, if somebody made that number mean something, the team might
Hmm.
not want to give that a rookie that number or something, right?
Yeah, I mean that happens all the time. So recently, a guy that got drafted by the New York Giants, football player, he wanted to wear 56, which is retired. That's Lawrence Taylor's number. So he called him. He's
Okay.
like, "Hey, can I wear your number?" And Lawrence Taylor's like, "No, you can't wear my number." So like stuff like that happens too. It's like, "No, it's my number. It got retired. Sorry, bud."
Sorry. Yeah, no, after I die, ask my descendants. Can you leave your number to your descendants? That'd be something.
Yeah. So
That's a
that's
question for the lawyers, Bobby.
Yeah, right, exactly. But it's kind of strange how that stuff happens, I guess, yeah, more often than not, which is strange.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so do you know the first number that you realized that numbers were that important for the sports?
Yes, that's a very funny question because I was literally thinking about this on the way in. I was like, how come this became like a thing for me, like jersey numbers and
Right.
like this aura of like, oh, this guy wears this number. So when I was young, I lived in Maryland, and Cal Ripken was like everyone's hero growing up, all time
Right.
baseball player, broke the consecutive games played streak, and he was everyone's hero in the state of Maryland if you played baseball. So everyone wanted to wear number 8, and
Okay.
the number 8 would always go to the coach's kid. So you couldn't wear 8; it would always go to the coach's kid. They get first dibs, and I always wanted to wear 8, and I could never wear 8. So
I
that
take it
was
your dad
heartbreaking.
didn't coach. Your parents didn't
No,
coach?
no, Dad did
Okay.
not
And
coach, and I could
mhm.
never got the chance to wear number 8. But that's when I realized, like, oh, this is a thing. This is people like what numbers and stuff, and yeah.
I have a Cal Ripken story. My brothers used to bring me baseball cards in an
Hmm.
effort to bond with me. They're all much older than me when I was a
Okay.
child because I was in Little League. And I had a Cal Ripken rookie card that I needed rent one year,
Uh-huh.
and I sold it for the smallest amount of money that still enrages me. So $50.
Yeah, that's a good deal if whoever bought it.
Yeah, that guy won. That guy won the lottery of I would like the Cal Ripken rookie card for $50.
Yeah,
So
right.
so be it. Yeah, I was only emotionally attached to the Brewers cards because
Okay.
I'm from the Wisconsin
Hmm.
and the Milwaukee area. So I always I thought Robin Yount was dreamy.
Oh, he was all time.
So
Yeah.
yeah, he was the dreamiest 1977 guy who was 20 years older than me ever.
Yeah.
Anyway, him and Steve Landisberg, big crushes. Anyway,
Okay.
so it was so Cal Ripken was the
Hmm.
one. That was the first one.
Yeah, that's when I realized that, like, okay, numbers mean something, and people want to wear number 8. And yeah, I was heartbroken that I never got the chance to wear it. So,
Right, right. And okay, so let's do it by sport then. Are there
mhm.
favorite numbers in baseball besides that 8?
Like my personal favorite number.
Yeah, yeah. Like, what are the good ones? Are there any good ones?
Yeah, so there's like this new fad right now wearing 99. That's Aaron Judge wears it, and I like to think that Manny Ramirez put 99 on the map as far as baseball is concerned, because not a lot of people wore 99 like in baseball. But when he came to the Dodgers, he wore 99. You're like, oh, that's kind of cool, like Manny Ramirez. And now it's like you see it more often, like this guy on the Orioles, Gary Sanchez, he wears 99. And I've been seeing it pop up more and more. So I think that's kind of an interesting one because that's like a number that you rarely see. I mean, the only number 99 that you think of really, it's like in football, then obviously hockey with Wayne Gretzky, but like now guys are wearing 99 in baseball. So I think that's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool, and maybe it's the push to the 3 digit. You know,
Maybe it's just a
maybe
matter of
that's
time
that.
before someone starts wearing 100 or something like that.
Right, right. 101. And I I wonder at what point just the owners of the team or the people are like, all right, calm down. Just there's only 12 guys on the field, right? Or whatever. How many people are on the field?
For baseball,
Yeah,
it's a 9.
9. There you go.
Hmm.
How many are on the field for basketball? It's 5.
Yeah,
Football? How many's on 11?
11. Yeah,
Yep. Ooh, I feel and hockey.
hockey 6.
6. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's never going to be more than 20 people on the field. So maybe you could just go with 1 through 20 and just go. And what if, so you go, well, it's Bears, the Bears, the guys wearing the number 16. And when whoever's calling the game has to
Hmm.
go, it's Bears number 16. It's not Packers number 16, right?
Hmm. Yeah, that sounds like a very tough job to be like a commentator and just play by play. Like all the
Right.
numbers and names, I couldn't even imagine. That sounds terrifying.
Right, and the pronunciation, because a lot of these guys are, they're not. It's not Bill Jones anymore, if it ever was.
Yeah.
So, did what was Wayne Gretzky at 99 in hockey?
Yes. Yeah. So he wore 99, and this is kind of a interesting little tidbit. So when he retired, the NHL said, "Okay, no one in the NHL can wear 99 anymore," which is crazy. That rarely happens in sports. Usually, it's like the city that they
Oh, and the
play.
whole. It's usually
Whole
just the
sport.
team.
Yeah, usually it's a team. Like, okay, so he played on the Kings,
Okay.
Oilers, and Blues. So it's like, oh, and Rangers too. So it's like you think, okay, maybe those teams. But like the NHL's like, no, this guy was so good that no one can wear his number ever again. Which is, I mean, that's when you
Yeah.
know that you left a mark on the sport that you play.
Right. Right. Has anyone ever been better than Wayne Gretzky at that job?
In hockey, no. And honestly, like at that job, as far as an athlete's concerned, you can make the case that he's like the greatest athlete of all time as far as like dominating your sport because he was, yeah, very good.
Okay. He was. Yeah. He was just incredible at. Was he? These are going to be very basic questions about the sport of hockey.
I
Was he
love it.
good at all the like he was good at the ice skating, he was good at the hitting, and he
Hmm.
was good at the blocking?
Yeah, so I mean, he could shoot, pass, and score with the best of them. He was more of a playmaker though, a guy that could like pass and set guys up, but he could also score.
Okay.
I mean, he had the goal record, career goal record, for a very long time. Was just recently broken by a guy that Alexander Ovechkin, Russian guy that is on my favorite team. So that was kind of cool. But he was, I mean, yeah, Wayne Gretzky was a guy that did it all, and he wasn't as physical as some of these hockey players. He didn't really throw his weight around and check, but it's like, you know, why would you
Well, if
if
you
you're,
if you can slide in and out, you don't have to.
yeah, exactly. He's
And
very sneaky with
right.
it like that. Yeah.
What so the Russian guy, what's his name again?
Alexander Ovechkin
And who does he play for?
plays for the Washington Capitals.
The Washington Capitals. And
Hmm.
what did he break? What um
So the career goal record, which was held by Wayne Gretzky, I think it was like
okay.
892 goals in his career. And
Mhm.
then Alex Ovechkin just recently surpassed that, which is crazy because that was a record that no one thought would ever be broken.
Well, that's the weird thing about sports is that everyone's like, no one's ever going to break this 4-minute
Hmm.
mile. Nobody's ever going to, shoot this many baskets in a game and then, there's always some nerd who's like, watch me. And
Yeah, right. Exactly.
it's
And
pretty great.
also, here's a fun fact. So Alexander Ovechkin, he wore the number 8 also. So that's like that number 8 it keeps popping up in my life. Like some
That's
of my
it.
favorite athletes wear that number.
Who else? Okay, so we got the hockey player. We had Cal Ripken. Who else wore 8?
So another like popular 8 is Lamar Jackson, who plays. So I'm not sure if you're a fan of the NFL or not, but two-time MVP, plays on the Ravens. He's a quarterback, and
Okay.
it's a strange situation because it's like the number 8. Some of the best players to ever wear the number 8, like in their sports, it's all like in the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. So it's like Cal Ripken, Alex Ovechkin, and Lamar Jackson. They all wear 8. You're like, it's just like
Okay.
the number that's working out in D.C., Maryland,
In
Virginia.
right in swampland. Good
Yeah,
for
right.
you.
Yeah.
And yeah, so okay, so that's football and baseball and hockey. No, what
Hmm.
was the other 8? It was two
Yeah,
baseball.
football, baseball, and hockey. That's just the number 8. It
Right.
seems like it's a swaggy number, and it's working out for the superstars in the Maryland,
Okay.
Virginia area.
So my favorite number when I was a kid was 12 because I always
Hmm.
thought that when I turned 12 I would be an adult
Hmm.
and I would get a motorbike. Anyway, none of that's happened. I'm an adult, but and I have an electric bike, so sort of. So who's the good number 12s?
I got Rogers, you mentioned.
Oh, he's a mess though. He kept retiring and then not retiring, and the only reason I know that is because I'm from Wisconsin.
Hmm.
And then he stole money from babies or something. He was just like, look over there, and then stole a rattle or something. The guy's a mess.
Yeah,
So
he's into he's out there. But the
yeah,
guy can sling it. I'll tell you that much. That guy can sling the
is
rock. That's for sure.
is he still quarterbacking?
Yeah. So
Not
he
pitching. Yeah.
yeah. So he's on the Steelers now. So he just signed a contract with the Steelers. He obviously did Packers,
Okay.
Jets, and now he's on the Steelers now. Yeah.
Okay. Who else is a good 12 in any sport?
Tom Brady's probably like the all-time 12.
The all-time 12 because he's Patriots? Is that him?
Yeah, Patriots. Yeah, I mean Patriots and Bucks. And what's funny is I also have this book here that I got told to get. So usually when I start Could Be the Move podcast, I do like if it's an episode number, I go okay 191, like 100 and Dennis Rodman, And so this one guy reached out to me and he's like, hey, you should get this book. So it's like all the numbers, like all the best athletes that wear a certain number.
Oh, you
So
are not alone in being obsessed with this number business.
yeah,
Okay.
right. And this guy like reached out to me. He's like, "Oh, you should check out this book." I'm like, "That's a great idea." So if you flip to number 12, first person we see is Tom Brady.
There he
So
is.
and it just rattles off like all the best 12. So it's like Terry Bradshaw, John
Oh,
Stockton, yeah, Adam
Terry
Oates.
Bradshaw played football back 1,000 years ago, right? Is that correct?
Yeah,
And then
Steelers
he
legend, 4 Super
announced.
Bowls.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then he was the announcer guy, and then he made fun of himself. These are the things I know about Terry Bradshaw. He seems to be a pretty good sport.
Yeah, he's in a reality show too now. I think like him and his daughters. I haven't seen it, but yeah,
All
he's
right.
funny.
All right, I'll take it. Okay, so so that was my favorite number, and then my second
Hmm.
favorite number was the number 7, because
Hmm.
that was how old my first nephew was when I met him. He
Oh,
was my
okay.
step nephew, yeah,
Uh-huh.
and he was such a cute kid, and I liked him so much that number 7 became my favorite number.
All right. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
yeah, I mean seven's a great number. Lucky number 7, right? That's
right.
it's a
People
great
love,
number.
yeah. Who's a good 7 that you know?
So you got John Elway, Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle.
Um,
That's right.
yeah, you got Phil Esposito. He was a legendary hockey player. David Beckham. But yeah,
Oh, David
7. That's
Beckham.
yeah, David Beckham.
It's, it's a solid number.
Oh, it's great.
Um,
It gets retired a lot, and it's I feel like you got to be good to wear a 7. That's like there's certain numbers that you have to kind of have a little swag about you to really, I guess give it that extra. And he's
you're
one of them.
right. Yeah, that is cool. So your favorite number as a child was 8, and now who are there good 19s out there? Who are the good 19s?
Yeah, 19. So his hockey player, his name's Nicholas Backstrom. He's one of my favorite athletes growing up, and he wore 19. And then there's this baseball player. His name's Joey Votto, and he's like the coolest dude ever. He's like the most interesting man in the world sort of vibe, And he played baseball.
Who's
He
he?
retired recently.
Okay, so his name is Joey Votto.
Joey Votto, yeah, he's one of my
That's a
favorite
hell of
athletes
a
ever.
name.
Yeah,
Is
it's great.
Joey is Joey is he made? Who's that guy?
Yeah,
Because that's too
he
many.
does. I think he does have some Italian in him, and he's yeah,
Who do you play for?
he played for the Cincinnati Reds, and
What's his backstory? What makes him
so
somebody?
he's Canadian, and he so I'm a, kind of a stat nerd also, and if you
Yeah,
look at
yeah.
his stats, like he kind of I want to say re-evolutionized, but like he would always get on base, and he always had really good on base percentage numbers, and he was just like very selective at the plate, had a great eye, and like he would just constantly take walks, and then anytime he got a pitch, he would drive it. He was just, I think, a very underrated player. Like if you really look at his stats, he's extremely underrated. So I just kind of had a liking to Joey Votto. He's also kind of cool. He's like really big into chess, and he's just a very
Okay.
interesting guy. Yeah, so he's always been my guy.
That's it's interesting because in every career there's like the team, and in something like sports you would think that they would celebrate sort of these team players
Hmm.
because he seems like he added a lot to the team
Hmm.
in the game as opposed
Yeah.
to like a star,
Hmm.
who you're like, well, that's all well and good. That guy's dreamy, or that guy, could knock it out of the park when he gets up. But what about the guy that always, the shortstop that always gets the out, and
Yeah, I mean, those are like the glue guys. You need those guys also. Like, yeah, superstars are great. They're, fantastic. They make the big bucks. They're supposed to make the big
yeah,
time plays. But those glue guys, those are the heart
right.
and soul guys.
That's why you watch the game. You want to watch Joey literally get on base every time he's up. You're like, watch
Yeah.
this. And and I'm sure the pitchers are going against the guy going, oh no, not this time. And then they go, well, I don't, what, I, why was he able to hit that? He shouldn't have been able to hit that. Because they do so much research in sports now where they watch each other play.
Oh yeah, the
So
scouting, it's incredible. Like the amount of information that everyone has on certain players, it's
right,
bonkers.
I had Jimmy Pardo on many years ago talking about the fake baseball, fantasy
Like
baseball.
fantasy baseball, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And he said it's sort of fantasy accounting is what he always called it. And he said he loves it just because it's a really beautiful spreadsheet. You can see the game. And so, um, so you got 19. What was, uh, who else? Is there any sports? We haven't really talked about basketball.
Hmm.
Are there the great basketball numbers?
Yeah, so basketball is interesting because for a really long time, um, you could only like the highest number you could do was five with the first digit and five with the second digit. Because if you're a ref, before you'd have to give hand signals like who the foul was on, and so you'd be like, okay,
Oh,
foul on number 55. So you
yeah.
couldn't like do like 56. You couldn't do that. So it would have to be on one
That's
hand. So right, kind
that's
of
fascinating.
interested. I found that out a long time ago, and I was like, that is crazy information. But recently things have changed, and it's like not as old school. But
But they
yeah,
don't
I mean
care because they
now
still have
it's
to say they're like 63.
yeah. I don't know why it changed because it's like technically, I mean they still do that, but now I guess they're just maybe they left the hand signals, you know, back in the past. I guess, but yeah.
It, and they have to I know it's really loud in a
Hmm.
basketball game.
Hmm.
Like basketball's one of the loudest games, I think,
Yeah, definitely.
just because it's real echoey.
Usually
Football's
indoors too, and obviously
yeah,
always indoors. Yeah.
yeah, I mean football's outside, baseball's often outside.
Hmm.
So like it can be loud, but and they don't and with baseball stuff they don't even need to make sure everybody hears them, I don't think,
Hmm.
right? Because
Yeah.
they're just doing a certain number of like you're out.
Out
You're
safe,
safe.
and that's all you really need, I guess, if you're
Is
an
that it?
umpire.
I think
Ball
that's
strikes, you punch them out, but yeah, and then football. There's like obviously a lot of different things going on for like calls and stuff, but yeah, basketball loud. I guess they're just like needed,
right.
you
And they're
know.
the only ones who are like, we're gonna tell you exactly who made this error with my hands. As
Yeah,
opposed to like in football, how do they do it in football? Like you're just like, that's number 22, holding. Yeah, they have a microphone.
yeah. I think they just like I'm trying to think of what they did like before. I think maybe they just would announce it, right? And then like if you're in
Yeah,
the stands, you're just like, well, I guess that was a hold on somebody. But yeah,
I
so I
do
guess they
remember
probably
my
just did that.
dad.
Yeah.
I do remember as a child my dad guessing the calls.
Oh yeah, I love that move.
Yeah, Speaking of which, I'm talking with Bobby Dolan. Could Be the Move is this podcast. And Could Be the Move. I was listening to Could Be the Move before we got together, and uh is this the move? You're the guy who brings the suntan lotion to the party because they're
Oh,
Fourth
the
of July
sunscreen.
moves, right?
Yeah, that was a Fourth of July move. I brought sunscreen one time to a party, and it was a big hit. Everyone, I was the sunscreen guy. People would, come to me like, "Hey,
Oh, I
mind if I
forgot
get
to
some
bring
sunscreen?"
sunscreen. Bobby brought some.
I got you. Here you go. Now I'm that, I'm the glue guy at the party that's helping people out. And then also, like your dad's move that you just said, guessing the call and getting it right is such a great
Hmm.
move because it's just like automatically, if you're watching it with a group of people and you guess it right, everyone's like, this guy knows ball. This guy is sharp. This guy's on top of it. And it's like,
This guy nailed
yeah,
it.
this guy nailed it.
So
Yeah. And it's like, if you get it right, that's like a big head turner. Like, this guy knows ball. If you don't, let's say you go 0 for maybe 4, then it's like, okay, maybe you're losing a
we're not
little pop.
listening to
But
this guy anymore.
yeah, right.
It's but if you did it, the cred that builds,
Oh,
you're
yes.
just like, oh, is Jim going to call it?
Yeah.
Yes, he's going to
Jim, what do
call
you think, Jim? What do you think?
it.
That's awesome.
And I don't know if my dad was calling it just because it was before audio,
Hmm.
or it was, or if it was just before it had been announced. I think it was before it had been announced. But he
Hmm.
was like, "Oh, I saw what happened there." And my father's also he's a big horse guy. He likes to
Oh, okay.
horses and the
That's on the
dogs.
horsies.
Yeah, he likes to. And does he do well? Anyway, it's fine. He lives indoors, so he's not completely unsuccessful at gambling. But the are there numbers? Do you ever follow the numbers in the horses or the dogs?
Yeah. So I think that's always an interesting one with horses because it's like that one you're like so in tuned with the number, right? Because it's like if you were to take off the bib, you're like, I don't know what horse is which horse, right? So it's like that's a good way to identify them. With like athletes, you
Right,
can still
right.
go, okay, you take,
That's
Michael
what that
Jordan
guy
doesn't wear a
looks like.
number. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think that's kind of neat. And yeah, that's when numbers are really into it. That's when you start gambling on your favorite number. You see the horse number 7, you're like, it's got decent
Right.
odds. Let's roll the dice on this one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a great, yeah, I love that.
What other what other number trivia you got for me?
I think I'm always like fascinated with like how much numbers mean to athletes too. Like it's there's a lot of times with a lot of certain athletes where they let's say I come onto a new team. Let's say the Los Angeles Dodgers, they want me to pitch for them tomorrow. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And if I don't have my number, if somebody else has it, you see this
Yeah.
happen a lot. They'll offer them cash for that number. So it's like, so Cam
Oh,
Newton, yeah, that happens all the time. So there's like a famous story with Cam Newton, who was the number 1 pick by the Carolina Panthers, really good college player. He wore the number 1. And so he goes on this team, and there's a guy that was drafted, I think, a year before him, named Jimmy Clausen. He wore number 1 also. So Cam Newton's like, going to battle for this starting quarterback position. He wants the number 1, and he goes, "I'll give you a million." Or he's like, "What's the number going to be?" And Jimmy Clausen's like, "I'll give it to you for $1 million." And Cam Newton's like, "No, I'm going to wear 2 now." And he decided to wear 2. But usually, there's a lot of times where people take money to like give up a
right.
number. Happens all the time.
Right. But I don't think you this. I mean, $1 million would have been maybe his entire signing bonus, or that never say no without a number. $1 million is a good number to start with because he didn't want to give it up.
Yeah,
Is
I
what it
honestly, I'm
sounds like.
surprised that he didn't do it for $1 million. Like I mean, yeah, he ended up being a
Did he
very
have a
successful
million
athlete. But
dollars?
I mean, he probably did back then. He was probably, yeah, number first pick in the NFL back in the day. He was probably pulling it a lot. But it's also like, I mean, to write that
Yeah.
check, it's probably going to be such a dagger. But I mean,
Right.
yeah,
I mean,
it
it's sort
happened.
of like the domain name business, right? A
Hmm.
little bit.
Yeah.
I many years ago bought the domain name
Huh.
familypetancestry.com
Okay.
because I thought it was funny.
Uh huh.
I just like the idea of someone going, is my dog eligible to go to join the Dogs of the American Revolution? FamilyPetAncestry.com. So all FamilyPetAncestry.com just
Mhm.
points to JackieCation.com. And there are
Okay.
sort of, and when I bought it, it was before there was any kind of like Ancestry.com or 23andMe
Yeah.
for pets. But now there is.
Hmm.
And so I wait. I wait for someone to care. And if nobody ever cares, it's still funny. It's still funny to
Yeah.
me.
Right. It's like,
So
oh, I got a
yeah,
nice little domain name. That's cool.
yeah. It's worth whatever, $10 a year or $11 a year.
Oh yeah.
Um, that's a joke that makes me laugh. And so is there anyone who famously did pay for it?
Yeah. So I mean, like, um, for instance, recently Shohei Ohtani got signed by the Dodgers, and a pitcher Joe Kelly had the number 17. So Shohei Ohtani bought Joe Kelly a Porsche, and it's like, there we
Oh,
go. You can have the number
oh,
now.
so you can buy like weird. You're like, here is what about this Cal Ripken rookie card? I'll trade you.
There we go.
And
Yeah. Right. It's like, let's do it.
it could be anything. It's a car. It's $1 million. It's
Yeah. Right.
put my kids through college. Do something,
Do
right?
laundry for a week. I don't know. Like whatever.
Exactly, right. It's you're buying every time we end up at a
Yeah.
card again. So okay, that's cool. What yeah. So what do you know? So you're clearly from the Delaware, Virginia area, right?
Yeah. So I'm from Maryland, Montgomery County. It's just outside of DC.
Okay. And
Hmm.
so those are your teams over there.
Yeah. Hmm.
And then now you live here. So do you
Hmm.
care about the teams here now?
Yeah, I mean, I'll root for like the local teams just because it's a fun excuse to like go out like when a playoff game's going down. So like for the
Oh,
Dodgers
right.
in the World Series, I was rooting for them because it's like also I don't like the Yankees, so that was yeah, I'll
Oh,
pull for the
right.
local teams. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Anaheim
So
Ducks. Here we go, rocking it right
what
now.
what the Ducks?
Anaheim Mighty Ducks. Yeah,
Oh,
hockey team.
is
Yeah,
that hockey? All right.
yeah. My
First of all,
girlfriend
that
also
hat's
works there, which is
amazing.
nice. Yeah, cool.
That
Thanks.
hat.
Yeah,
Wait, I'm
girlfriend got it
actually
from
going
me.
to grab. It turns out I have a dorkdom, and it's
Hmm.
It's I don't like baseball, but I
Okay.
like baseball hats.
Oh, cool.
So
That's awesome.
this is that you know I don't know if there's a thing on the back, but it's a real Major League Baseball hat,
Oh,
but
cool.
it says Dodgers in Japanese.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's because of the Japanese baseball player that is on the Dodgers.
Yeah, Shohei, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Is that one of
and
your
that's
go-tos
fun.
right now? Do you do like rotate hats? How does that work? Or do you have one that you just
Yeah,
wear until
like
like
I got this one at in Philadelphia at Constitution Hall.
that's awesome.
That's a nice hat. I got this just because it made me laugh. It's a Super Mario Brother hat,
I like the racing
and
stripes right down the center. That's cool.
yeah, right. That's a good one. This one of my fans gave me this. She works at Nintendo, so this is an Animal Crossing Noom
Okay.
hat.
Yeah.
At times, I have like 30 more. Andy was like, "Do you want to display them? Like, because it's your dorkdom." And I was like,
Uh-huh.
I don't want to display them. I didn't know that I collected them until you just pointed it out.
Yeah.
So, but this one is kind of hilarious because
Oh, that's a cool design.
it's essentially a baseball hat that a guy sewed this matting on, this little, and then put that buckle thing on with a
Uh-huh.
rooster,
Yeah.
and then bejeweled it, right?
Yeah.
So the crazy thing is I bought this at a feed store in the Central Valley of California,
Okay.
and the guy that I bought it from, he said, "Do you like cockfighting?" And I said, "I do not. I do not approve of cockfighting, actually. But that hat is pretty great."
Yeah. That's awesome. Do what's how many do you think you have? How many hats do you
Oh, I easily have about 20 hats.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
got the one
I got a
head.
pretty good amount too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that hat's pretty great though. It kind of I'm vaguely interested in that hat. I was collecting. I have several baseball hats that have Australian rules football
Oh, cool.
logos on them
Hmm.
because that sport I can watch that game for at least 20 minutes. I'm not great with sports. I get dragged away. I don't care. But they jump in the air so high.
Uh-huh.
They do these spectacular like leaps. Like they're wearing cleats. They're wearing
Yeah,
shorts, but they will literally a guy will put his knee, a person will put their knee, and then the other person will step on his knee and launch themselves into the sky
that's crazy.
to catch the football.
Yeah.
And and it's this weird sort of rugby shaped ball that you bounce and kick, and there's four goalposts, and if you kick it through the middle ones you get a certain point. If you kick it through one of the side ones, like there's little guys on the side, you get less
Hmm.
points.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's
I try to watch it every now and then. Like it'll come up on a, those guys are so tough. Like the hits that they're taking on the reg, like I couldn't even imagine. I would get like broken in half if I tried to play that sport.
right, and they're not padded up or anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you're just like when I was in Australia for like 3 months, and the only way I could tell the difference between an Australian rules football game and a rugby game
Hmm.
was if they had sleeves.
Oh.
Turns yeah, I one of them, and I forget which one, is not where it's sleeveless, and I think it's AFL. I think it's Australian Football League,
Okay.
and not the rugby. But yeah, there's some sports in Australia they're also interested in. So yeah, I don't know. So okay, what do you want to? By the way, everybody, let me just tell everybody I'm talking with Bobby Dolan about could be the move, and talking about numbers in the world of sports on jerseys as their favorite jersey. Like, what's the font? What's happening with the font on the numbers?
Oh, that's very interesting that you bring that up because it's like, yeah, every jersey has like kind of a different font or vibe or feel to it.
Yeah.
And some numbers are like really big, some numbers are kind of small. Sometimes they have it on the front, depending on the jersey, some don't. Um, yeah, it's those are always interesting jerseys to me. I can't think of one right now, but sometimes I do like a, you know, kind of like a cool trendy font that like is supposed to like fit the vibe of the uniform. So like sometimes like I think the Orlando Magic one time had this jersey and like the numbers kind of had like a magic-y sort of feel to it, if that makes sense.
Oh,
Is
like
magic-y a word? I
sparkles?
don't know.
A little
Sort of
sparkly?
sparkles, yeah, and also like I don't know. It's like sort of like an Aladdin sort of feel to it, like an Aladdin font. If that makes sense. I don't even
Why
know.
not?
Yeah, like yeah. So sometimes I do that, but for the most part, right? Like I mean, a lot of these numbers and the fonts they just keep
Try
basic.
to keep it legible
Yeah,
in an
illegible.
ideal world.
That's yeah, exactly.
I did do an episode of the Dork Forest with somebody who really liked the jerseys that the goalies of hockey teams in Canada wore.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And it wasn't, I was trying to figure out um what it all meant, like
Hmm.
they got to sort of design and pick their own jerseys, the goalies.
Oh, cool.
Or wait, it wasn't jerseys, it was masks.
Helmets. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
That is an interesting like how the goalie mask how it got to like where it is now, and now it's just like it's like it's like a canvas. It's like a piece of art. It's so cool.
Yeah. Right. And it's I mean and they I mean I suppose it's small solace. I mean they have to be the guy who doesn't let anybody down, you know?
Hmm.
You got to save them if the team falls apart. You got to stop the puck at the last minute, right?
Oh, I know, right? I can imagine, and also like you have to stand in front of a rubber puck that is coming at you like at 105 miles an hour. That sounds terrifying.
Right. Right. I don't think there's enough padding in the world.
I
And
know. Yeah, hard pass.
hard it's so do you go to see a lot of live sports?
Yeah, I try to go as much as possible. My girlfriend works for the Anaheim Ducks, and so she'll like let me know. It's like, oh, I got a couple extra tickets when I go, and I'll try to go as much as possible. But hockey is like my favorite sport to see live. Baseball is cool too. I love
Right?
football. It's probably my favorite sport to watch. But the at-home experience with football is so great. And sometimes I'm like, I don't even know if I want to go to the game, right? Like it's
Agreed.
just
It's hard to. It would be hard to see all the things that are happening in a football
yeah,
game in real life.
yeah.
Yeah, I think if I went to see a game, I would want to go to the Lambeau Field and just to go, essentially to drink soda and get the vibe. You know,
Oh yeah,
it would.
1000%.
Yeah, it would not be. It wouldn't be. You know, I just realized I said drink soda. I know everybody's. I would drink beer if I drank beer. It would be a thing, but
Mixed with spotted cow. Don't you guys have that in Wisconsin? That's the
Uh, I drank too much a long time ago, so I had to wrap it
okay.
up. I had to
Gotcha.
call
Okay.
it. So but I would go to I would stay for most of a Packer game. Are you kidding me? I
Oh, I
would
know,
leave
right?
early
Yeah.
just so I could get out of the parking lot.
Hmm.
And I was just in Green Bay, and one of the there's always it was you could see like everything's named after Lambeau,
Hmm.
and a lot of the hotels are like, "Do you want a view of the stadium?" And it's like there's not much else to see in Green Bay. So yes, I would. And
I would
but
love to go
do
to that
you
stadium. So I'm gonna plug in my computer real quick. I think I might be dying. Let me just
okay. Well,
1 second.
I'm going to wrap it up here. I think we did it.
Oh, we did?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
this is
Okay.
good. I
Awesome.
think 45 minutes on jersey numbers. I think we did more than
That's
you could.
that's impressive. That's big time. Yeah.
I think so. I think we did the Lord's work here. What do you own jerseys of your favorite? Do you own
Yeah,
any jerseys?
I have some. I used to have a lot more, but I don't really buy as many jerseys as I did when I was like kind of like in high school and college and stuff. But
High
yeah, I
school,
got some cool
college kind of
ones.
thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
What's your favorite one that you do you still wear?
I have a Penny Hardaway United States basketball team jersey that I got at a Goodwill in Salisbury, Maryland, and it was like the greatest find ever. I was like, I would have paid a lot of money for this, and it was only like what $6 or whatever. So
Oh
that's my
my
favorite
gosh,
jersey. It's great for 4th of July and
that's
stuff too. So
that's amazing. Uh, Bobby, thank you so much for doing the show.
yeah, thanks for having me, Jackie. That was
This has
awesome.
been weirdly interesting, and I've had a lovely
Yeah,
time.
yeah, definitely. Thanks so much for having me. It was awesome.
You're welcome, everybody. Bobby Dolan at Could Be the Move is his new pod, and you know the rules out there. Take care of each other.
Hi, Adal. How was the show?
It was a show about an author who was clearly like an airport author, like a
Okay.
guy who has a million books at the airport. And I vaguely
Okay.
remember seeing some of them there
Oh,
10
okay.
odd years ago. His name is Clive Cussler, not Clive
Clive-
Barker.
Right.
Clive
a different
Cussler.
Clive.
Mm-hmm.
All
He's
right.
named-
Clive Cussler. And what
And-
kind of books are they?
Well, Nancy Kornfeld has a podcast about, he's written 50 books, 5 different series. This is the biggest series that she follows. A guy named Dirk Pitt,
Okay.
and he works for something called NUMA, the National Underwater Marine Agency.
Okay. So these are
And-
modern books. These are not fantasy or sci-fi. They're
Right. But they are,
modern fiction.
and yet the supervillain in one of these books wants to create a straw
A straw
that goes to South America and steals all of their minerals.
through a straw.
Through a straw. He wants to raise the Titanic, not to roll the bodies, not to get the silverware, but because
Sure.
supposedly there's like an unobtainium on the Titanic.
Well, there was a giant gemstone.
No, this is a metal. This is a metal
The
like
star of
vibranium.
something or other.
Right.
Oh, right.
This was like vibranium or
Right.
unobtainium or
Well, it didn't really save the ship.
It did
was it
not.
like was it was the ship wasn't made out of it. It was something that was just being
it was in a
cargo?
box. It was being cargoed.
Oh.
So in other news, Clive Cussler
Has a great
writes
imagination.
amazing supervillains, really cool ways that they die.
Oh,
And
okay.
and Dirk Pitt. There's never any
P-I-T-T?
women. Yep,
P-I-T-T.
Pitt.
Okay.
And there's never any women on his team. There is only a woman who has been introduced into the plot as an expert so that he may have sexy times with her.
Oh, he likes an expert.
An expert.
Yes. He has a type, and his type is expert.
Does. And it sounds horrible. It sounds, and I've read Jack Reacher.
Not to belittle our guest.
A dorkdom?
Dorkdom.
No, well, but she's like, no, there's parts of it that you love anyway. And I tried to explain about Flashman and how I loved Flashman, and that guy was a monster.
Oh yeah.
And yet still there. Jack Reacher using his powers for good, but no due process. No, nothing. And she was talking about how guys like Clive Cussler, these heroes, and she said heroes have led us to our current problems politically. Because people, there's no accountability. The's no checks and balances.
For sure. I mean, 20 years ago, we had Kiefer Sutherland in 24.
Right.
Running around.
She mentioned him, yes.
Doing all kinds of enormously illegal things.
Right.
In the name of protecting the country.
And in the name of the government. So, yes. But so it was a fascinating... I was mostly taken with Clive Cussler's supervillains.
Oh,
and the fact that there was a Quebecois terrorist group that wanted to take over the United States...
And teach us all French.
My hair looks really weird. No, and just use us and use. Well, you're adorable, and to use us as essentially Quebecois terrorists that wanted to colonize the United States in its current iteration.
Okay.
Good luck.
Right.
There's 320 million people here. Quebec, I think, might have 5 million, maybe 10 million people in it, max.
Right.
There's only 30 million in all of Canada.
Right.
So the supervillains are extraordinary, and I'm kind of drawn to it, but also not.
Right.
There you go.
I like it.
It was a great episode.
One and tell us how it is.
You read one. Tell me how it is. She just read 10 of them. She told me how it was.
What?
And she liked it. So let me just tell you about Nancy Kornfeld and the name of her podcast. She has her and a buddy of hers do a podcast called Cussler's Hustlers.
Cussler's Hustlers. That's very good.
That's entirely about
That's very, very good. Yes. Well, maybe we just listen to her podcast and not bother reading the books.
That's it. They break them down chapter by chapter, she said.
Wow.
Anyway. It was a great episode. Rangers, thanks for listening, and take care of each other out there.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?